So we'll just do about 200. As you know, we would normally measure in a graduated cylinder, read the line at the meniscus, measuring properly, but we're just going to get the effect. And so the same thing here, these guys did this experiment with the vinegar. And the same thing, they timed it as well, so they were 3, 2, 1, drop. Now the difference here is, this seems to behave kind of like this one. The tablet is moving around the bottom. There's lots of powder being released from the tablet. The tablet is actually really frothing. Like, I can hardly see where the tablet is, whereas in the regular experiment with water, we could always keep track of the tablet. But now I can't. It's almost like this created this cloudy, frothy mixture that's very bubbly, a lot of bubbles, way more bubbles than we encountered in any of the other experiments. Tons more gaseous reaction happening in there. So much so that it's frothing and fizzing as opposed to
rising.
Expanding a little bit. And so what we ended up learning is happening is this is not dissolving. Dissolving is when this beaker, once all of that powder disappears and this just looks like plain water again, that's when you know dissolving has happened. The difference is this is never going to look like plain water again. It may, but can you see that something that frothed out of the beaker is now clinging to the sides of the beaker? Mm-hmm. We actually made a new substance because instead of just dissolving,
it mixed.
It actually, see how there's a chemical, see how it's made of different molecules?
Yeah.
These molecules, when they interacted with the acid from the vinegar, that's cool. When it interacted with the acid from the vinegar, it's like we traded. So like I'm made of NaHCO3. It's like I give you a hydrogen and you give me an oxygen. And so we've now become a different molecule. And what you end up making when you do this chemical reaction is you end up making, do you see how there's lots of gas in there? Mm-hmm. You end up making carbon dioxide gas, which wasn't in there to begin with, but you made it. Yeah. You end up making some water, which was in there to begin with because vinegar is also made of water, but you end up actually recombining some of the molecules and actually making more water than what you had to begin with. And you make something that very much resembles salt. And it is a type of salt. You actually make a type of salt. And so this is made out of baking soda. Did the bell go?
Maybe.
Very confused. I didn't hear it, but maybe it did. This tablet is made out of baking soda, a little bit of aspirin as a painkiller, and a little bit of something called citric acid as a bit of flavoring. Because what you do is when you have an upset tummy, you put this antacid into water, you dissolve it, and you drink it down, and it makes your tummy feel better. So the idea is there's a painkiller to help it feel better, but then there's also something called a base, and it neutralizes the acid in your stomach. This is kind of what it would be doing in your stomach. But instead of dissolving in the water, it actually made new substances. So all this stuff that you see along the side is actually a new substance, which if we mixed it up with some of this, this will actually resemble clear water at the end, because both the carbon dioxide is going to bubble out completely, and this new salt, we know salt is very soluble in water. The point is, though, it's not the tablet that dissolved. The tablet recreated and recombined to make new stuff, and that new stuff potentially dissolved in the water. Anyway, sorry, I got to get ready for my next class.